Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this evening's Apush review. Now, I'm going to let y'all know that I'm trying out a new format because I'm going to be doing several streams next week. Some of them with Fiveable, some of them with the Bill of Rights Institute, but some of them here on my own YouTube channel. And I'm looking at some ways to, improve some of the things I'm doing on my YouTube channel, and also to sort of get, I want to get some more options out there. I want to maybe have some more tiers as far as where some of you can be more interactive with me while I do this, because especially these streams get very high capacity during exam week. So as far as that goes, I am looking at YouTube right now. I'm learning how to get some things going here. Okay, so all right, so let me see. Let me go ahead, and this is an Apush review stream. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going into YouTube and I'm setting up everything. It doesn't show me online yet, but it should show me online very soon. Okay, so as far as that goes, let's see how we're doing here and trying to see what's going on there. Okay, so we should be getting into some stuff here. Let's see, is the stream on YouTube yet? All right, we're going to see here and what's going on there. Now, those of you already in the Crowdcast interface, you can ask a question, you can chat. Okay, so we've got some stuff built in here to chat and to ask questions. Okay, and so yes, okay, as far as that goes, hopefully that will change in a little bit. Hopefully that'll change in a little bit. Right now, see, I'm still trying to figure out what exactly is going on here. Okay, so let's see if it's going to let me change. Okay, it's saying the thumbnail thing. Let's see, start your encoder, learn more. Okay, so I've got a few things going on that I'm not exactly sure how that's working. Okay, so let's see, less than a minute to go. Let me just go ahead and let's see, I'm going to reload this and see what's going on. Okay, so I'm just doing a little bit of technical difficulties here. It says page not found. Okay, well, that's something that we might want to look into. Okay, so all right, so it does say that the stream is live. Okay, it says that the stream is live. So I just had to okay, so I'm uploading a thumbnail now. Okay, so as far as that goes, let me go ahead and get in here and Apush live Q&A. Okay. Okay, so I'm still learning the ropes. Okay, so y'all just bear with me while I'm learning these ropes, and in just a second we're going to be getting into some review here. Okay, so we want to do that. Let's see. So http tomrichie.net/apush. Y'all want to check out my Romulus app. Okay, http Romulus education.com/apush. It's a review app. It's just a simple little trivia app on the App Store for $2.99, the App Store and Google Play. And for those of you who are having a hard time, like on DBQs, LEQs, SAQs, I know kind of what I'm talking about, but I can't remember the specific evidence to back it up. That is a really good use for Romulus. That's where you know that if you're having a hard time just remembering stuff, that's what Romulus is for. Now, if you want to practice with stimulus-based questions, go talk to my friends at Albert.io, okay? They've got a lot of great stimulus-based questions. You're going to pay a lot more than $2.99 for that. So with that, now let's see, http the fiveable.me/plus. Okay, so I'm going to see here, what have we got there? Okay, so we've got that. We're on education. All right, so this is showing up. And then I just kind of need to go into my stream options. Okay, so it's not letting me get into this. Okay, it's saying here, let's see, make archive unlisted when complete. I'm not sure how to do that. So viewers will be able to seek backup 4 hours while you are streaming. Okay, I don't know if I want to do that, or do I? Okay, so I'm working on. Okay, so again, ladies and gentlemen, just try. Oh, For those of you, okay, the link, if we want the link to Crowdcast, okay, so some of y'all want to come into the Crowdcast. That's where I've got the interactivity. Thank y'all for bearing with me as I'm learning this, okay? So as far as that, go ahead and click on that to come join us in the Crowdcast. That's where you can actually come in and you can ask questions. I've got a couple of questions here. Hello, Emma. Okay, so I'm trying to get this to where the main, all of the action is here in the Crowdcast. And then we've got the general YouTube chat is going to stream alongside. And what I'm trying to do is create some events that are going to be where somebody can, you know, kind of a two-tiered thing where somebody can pay to be here in the Crowdcast where they're interacting with me, asking questions, and then other people can watch the review for free. That's what I'm looking to do. So I'm testing that out and making sure, you know, because I want as many people to have access to the review as possible. You know, would also, you know, like to get a little bit for my time. You know, this is America, right? All right, the invisible hand and all of that good stuff. So working on that. Okay, so as far as that goes, let's see. We want to do that. Let's see. So stream. Yeah, it's still not giving me stream options here. All right. So I will get some more, you know, I'm going to figure this out and then we're going to answer some questions. Okay. So y'all go ahead. I've got the Crowdcast link there. So go ahead and go to the Crowdcast. Okay. We've got a few people in there now and go ahead and ask me some questions. Okay. Also, you can ask some questions. I'm going to be checking my Twitter at Tom Ritchie. And also I'm on Instagram. I'll be shouting out to new Instagram followers sometime during this stream. Okay. So thank y'all very much for that. All right, so excellent. All right, so so we got some people there. All right, so let's see here. I think that it's working. Everybody can see me, hear me, all of that kind of stuff. All right, so good. All right. Hey there. Let's see. Anamitra, all right, is here, and Ellie is here, and we've got a few questions. So let's go ahead and answer those. All right. So as far as that goes, Hannah, what I advise students to do when they're thinking about what is it that I study, should I go to the last few chapters, earlier chapters? Now, don't review chapters, review content. Okay, review content, not chapters. But also think about something that interests you that you don't know a whole lot about. Thank you very much, Reka. And so with that, I would say that if there's recent stuff that you're having a hard time with, then look at that. Or if there's earlier stuff, if you're like, I forgot everything about colonial America, focus on that. The thing is that the exam is not comprehensive, it's random. Some things are going to be tested more on certain exams than others. Some things will not even be tested that you studied for, and you're going to think that wasn't even on there at all. So the test is kind of a random sample of the content. Now, the other thing, though, think about something that you need to review, but the other side of that is that you want to think about something that interests you. If you're reviewing stuff that, like, gosh, this is so boring to me, you're going to fall asleep. So I would definitely think about stuff that you need some extra practice in, but also that you find interesting, okay? So as far as that, I think that is something important to know. All right, so completed Romulus several times. Yeah, okay. So the thing is, you're still having some trouble remembering specific information. Devesh, I would say that you're going to have to start writing things down. I mean, that's the thing that a lot of students, they don't write stuff down, or they don't write stuff down unless they're copying. So you know, if that's going on, I mean, I would say when you're reading your book, annotate it. Okay, actually go through and busy your hands because the thing is, when we type, we don't remember stuff as much as if we're writing. Okay, so get those fine motor skills going. That would be something I'd say here. And the populist movement versus populism. Now, small p populism. What small p populism is Adam, go ahead and ask your question as a question. Okay, ask your question as a question, and then I'll answer it. Okay, chat needs to be for chat. The Q&A needs to be for Q&A. So small p populism, that can include any populist movement. A populist movement is an anti-elite movement, and populist movements, you know, like you think about in 2016. Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders both ran populist campaigns. They were campaigns that were aimed at the disenchanted, people that felt like they're being left out. Now, when we talk about populism and the populist party, then that is what we're looking at there is specifically that farmers' political revolt in the 1890s. And so, of course, the Populist Party, it was the People's Party. But, when anytime we talk about populism, it's something that appeals, it's an anti-elite movement in particular. So that's like kind of a common noun versus a proper noun sort of thing. All right. So the Cuban Missile Crisis or the Bay of Pigs, I'm getting a choice here. The Bay of Pigs, now this was a CIA operation that Kennedy, when he first became president, people were like, oh yeah, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. It's going to be fine. And what had been happening is that the CIA was training Cuban exiles to invade Cuba. And what they were planning on doing is they bring them to the beach, they invade. And what was planned was that there would be a popular uprising against Castro, that basically the Cubans were so ready to overthrow Castro that having this invasion force come on to the island was going to be enough. Well, what happened was that the Cuban military had been told, okay, so whether there was a spy or what was going on, but when the Cuban exiles were dropped off by the CIA, the Cuban army was there to greet them, and they asked for air support. The CIA wanted Kennedy to send an air support. He refused, okay, because Kennedy was told that this operation was going to be fine as it was, and the U.S. government could disavow it. If Kennedy would have sent an air support, then he would have had to say, like, this is a U.S. government sanctioned operation. Now, the Cuban Missile Crisis happened a little bit later, and this is where the Soviets put missiles onto Cuba. Okay, so the Soviets put missiles onto Cuba. This is Apush. Okay, this is Apush. I'm not sure if we've seen that. I'm still kind of learning the YouTube streaming, so I'm not exactly sure. Let me go to the watch page here. Okay, so if we go to the watch page. Yes, we do have Apush Q&A at this point. I tell you what, this is looking a lot better than some of the other stuff that I've done in the past. So I'm using a new platform. I'm trying to get my streams ready for next time here. And so as far as that, if you're on YouTube, then go to the Crowdcast interface, okay? And again, I'm just kind of figuring out how to do this. So thank y'all so much for bearing with me as I'm learning a new streaming method. And I'm trying to figure out some ways to get reviews to you next time and get reviews to as many people as possible. All right, so the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Soviets put nuclear missiles onto Cuba. Now, this is when in the 1950s, you didn't have ICBMs, okay, 1950s, early 60s, that you had these short-range ballistic missiles. The United States had put ballistic missiles in Turkey that were aimed at the Soviet Union. So the Soviet Union's like, you know what, we're going to go into Cuba, we're going to do the same thing. And Kennedy's like, no, you're not. And the Soviets sent their Navy, okay, so for about 13 days, the Soviet Navy's crossing the Atlantic Ocean, and they are on their way to Cuba, and Kennedy's got the island blockaded. And so with that, you've got this standoff, and finally, right before, not too long before the two navies would have interacted with each other, Khrushchev calls it off. Well, what was decided, okay, was that the United States would have to pull their missiles off of Turkey. In return, the Soviets were going to pull their missiles off of Cuba, and JFK had to publicly say that the United States has no intention of invading Cuba. And so that was how the Cuban Missile Crisis was resolved. All right, so thank you, Annika, for your question. All right, so with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's go into a few things here. Let's see. All right, so we've got some questions coming in, and again, this is really just to kind of help me to familiarize myself with this platform, and I, thank y'all for tolerating any rookie mistakes. Now, it says for me, it's saying Apush Live Q&A. So CX me though. It says for me Apush Live Q&A, and I'm not quite sure what's going on there. So let's see, this is going to be okay. So as far as that goes, now those of y'all that are asking questions in the YouTube chat, y'all want to go over to Crowdcast and ask those questions. All right. So as far as that goes, let me. All right. So I think that we've got, I just don't know if these things are going to save either. So anyway, yeah, but anyway, we've got some stuff going on here. Hopefully, okay, it says a push for you. Maybe it's that you've got to refresh perhaps. Okay. But the Crowdcast link, I've put the link to Crowdcast and I'm trying to get, to get this going to where we've got everybody there. Okay. So as far as that goes, let's take a look. The differences and similarities, the New Deal and the Fair Deal. Okay. I wouldn't go, the thing is that I think the New Deal is going to be much more important than the Fair Deal. The Fair Deal was Truman's platform. I've never seen the Fair Deal really get a lot of attention. So I would be focusing on, and the other thing is the Fair Deal is not fundamentally different than the New Deal. And so I would think in terms of I wouldn't go that route so much. I wouldn't, because I don't think those two are ever going to be compared on the exam because they're so close to each other and it's a successor kind of thing. Instead, what you would need to look at, I would advise you to think in terms of analyze the ways in which the New Deal was changing the ways that Americans thought about the role of government. So how did the New Deal constitute an expansion of government power beyond what we'd seen in the 1920s? You see what I mean? That's what I would be looking at, not so much the New Deal versus the Fair Deal. That I wouldn't expect to see that. All right. So the changes in immigration laws, trends in immigration. All right. Yes, okay, thank you, Ellie, for showing up tonight. Now, a few things here. First of all, I would think in terms of, that in the colonial era, you had a lot of immigration, like historically, your first waves of immigration are coming from Northwestern Europe, specifically from, England, Scotland, and Northern Germany and Scandinavia. This is where you're getting a lot of your first immigrants. Now, these are overwhelmingly Protestant and mostly English speaking. And so when it comes down to it, if you want to be throughout U.S. history, if you want to be an immigrant that comes in the United States and be welcome here, it helps if you are white, Protestant, and English speaking. That other than that, any other immigrant group practically has had trouble. And so starting with the Irish in the antebellum period, that the Irish were Catholics. And so they came over, and not only are they Catholic, but they were doing, they were offering cheap labor as well. And so they came in for a lot of, they got a lot of grief when they got over here. Caleb Johnson, if you're in the stream right now, looks like you have recently followed me on Instagram. Thank you so much, at Tom Ritchie on Instagram. Okay, so thank y'all so much for that. All right, so the Irish, of course, they ran into some things. Now, the anti-immigrant sentiment kind of came to a head in 1856 with the Know Nothing Party, which they called the American Party. And so the Know Nothings, that was the response there. Of course, in the late 19th century, you've got immigration coming from Asia, the Chinese Exclusion Act in the 1880s. I'm waiting for this water to cool enough. It's still very hot. So if y'all are wondering what's he doing there, it's like there's some very hot water in here and I'm waiting for it to cool enough so I can drink it. There we go. Trying to take care of my throat, okay, and trying to keep my voice so that I don't lose it. And this is going to be kind of a short stream because, again, I'm just trying to figure out how is it that this works with YouTube and how can I make sure to optimize my streaming for next week. So the Chinese Exclusion Act. Now, at the same time, the Japanese, there was what was called a gentleman's agreement. Okay, so with the Japanese, you've got the gentleman's agreement in which the Japanese government agreed that they weren't going to let immigrants, they weren't going to let people immigrate to the United States in return for the United States not banning immigration. Now, your next wave of immigration was the so-called new immigrants. These are immigrants at the turn of the 20th century, the progressive era, from Southern and Eastern Europe, from Greece, Italy, Russia, Poland, and these people are overwhelmingly Catholic, Jewish, and Orthodox Christians. So none of them were Protestant, and also they were coming from places that really didn't have a lot of experience with Republican self-government, and that was another critique there. So that's another thing that's happening at that time. And so the immigration during that time, during the Progressive era in the 1920s, you had the first immigration quota acts that were passed in response to the immigration from Southern and Eastern Europe. So those are some of the ways of immigration that I would note that I think would be important on the exam. All right. And so the different goals of the colonies which colonized America, Adam, I would go ahead and take a look at my Colonial America playlist. I've got a lot of stuff on this, and I think that it's something that I could go over very quickly, but I think you might be better off, looking at this yourself and looking at my videos on New France, New Spain, New Netherlands, and English colonization. Okay, so that's something that I would recommend to you there, is to take a look at those videos. All right. When will I be doing Q&A for AP Euro? I actually did some Q&A for AP Euro a little while ago, and I'm doing some other stuff as well. Okay, so I am working to get that going. Adam, I definitely want to figure out the hashtag. I will take some suggestions for our writing on the exam hashtag. Okay, so we're going to definitely look into that. Okay, so the Missouri Compromise and the Compromise of 1850. Now, Maria, again, I've got a video on both of those topics that I would recommend there. Now, the Missouri Compromise, of course, is the compromise that starts the antebellum period. It's Henry Clay's first compromise. And the issue is, can Missouri get into the Union on its own terms as a slave state, or is that going to be restricted by the federal government? You've got the Talmadge Amendment, where there was a move to try to force gradual emancipation on Missouri in order to let them into the Union. It was the first time that a state tried to come into the Union, and slavery in that state became an issue, which is why that's often kind of the jump-off point for the antebellum period. And so what happens at the end of the Missouri Compromise is that you've got that Missouri comes in as a slave state. Then Maine is split off from Massachusetts and is admitted into as a free state, which gave New England 2 more senators. So they were happy with that. And then they said that in the Louisiana Purchase that slavery will be forbidden in territories north of 3630. Maria, for the Compromise of 1850 for right now, I'm going to let you go to my YouTube channel. I've got a video and a rap. James, I don't think that the Barbary Wars are going to be, I mean, as an illustrative example sometime possibly, but then again, I don't really see where that's gonna help you a whole lot to be barking up that tree. Now, Ian, I don't really get into predicting the DBQ and LEQ. Just don't do that. All right. Morgan, this sounds like, oh, okay, you know what? I still had some stuff in the stream. I'm working on some things, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to figure out how it is that I can change all of my stuff before I go live. There have been some technical difficulties, and I think there's been a little bit of false advertising where like old stream stuff is still on the new stream stuff. It's, normally in the past, I've done these as live hangouts, and I might do some of that this time, but I'm trying to modernize my streaming a little bit. And so this is kind of, there are some growing pains here. Okay, so there are some growing pains here, and sorry about that, because that was advertising something from December. All right, yes, y'all don't worry, I have not abandoned AP Euro. If you're here for AP Euro, like, no, okay, like this is an Apush stream, okay, so please don't, I mean, okay, the thing is, when I'm broadcasting for Apush, I'm just going to tell you, I'm very tired right now. I'm trying to get ready for next week. But if it's obvious that I'm broadcasting for Apush, please don't come in here and troll for AP Euro, because when I'm doing a Euro stream, y'all aren't going to want people coming in saying, hey, can you do something for Apush right now? You see? So that's something, if y'all can just help me out, yes, I'm going to stream for AP Euro. But as far as that goes, now also if you're coming into here and in the Crowdcast, then you're getting onto my my notification list for Apush events. So don't come into the Crowdcast if you're not in that course. All right. So as far as that goes, you're looking for the Kansas-Nebraska Act. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and close out this stream because I haven't really, I haven't really advertised this. I'm really just trying to, get a feel for what's here and what the potential. I will be back. Okay, I will be back. I promise, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back. Just make sure you're following me on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you're going to tomritchie.net/apush, or for some of you, tomritchie.net/euro. That depending on what email list you want to be on, there you go. Okay. So as far as that goes, yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back. I'm testing stuff out tonight, but I will be back. I promise. Okay. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is always a pleasure, and I promise that I'll be back, and hopefully with 100% fresh voice. Thank y'all so much.